Alright, so this video sucks, or having to make it, I guess. This around me is one of the many fields that surround a couple of little cottages, one of which used to belong to our family, but it no longer does. As you may have understood, we recently sold it, which was the right decision, absolutely. That's not what the video is about. The point of this video is saying goodbye to this place, and since it represented my childhood so deeply, I guess this is saying goodbye to my childhood in general. For the first year of my life, as my parents were waiting for our actual house to be finished, we actually lived here. And as my dad and my sister were going off to work and school, respectively, me and my mom were actually fighting it out here by ourselves for most of the day. Which, of course I don't remember any of it, but that means something. So many of my first times must have happened right here, or I guess not here, but a little over there. And now I'm an awkward 21-year-old, just, cutting the grass here for the last time before we hand it over. And a couple of weeks ago I was here with my girlfriend, who is kind of the reason why this video exists. She just took my camera and started filming it for me, which was really, really sweet. And also just, she's someone who very strongly represents my adulthood. We met when I was 18, and this place, as I said before, strongly represents my childhood, and now those two things met, and I didn't know how to process that, to be honest. Yeah, I teared up quite a few times when she was here. It was, I cannot really describe it, to be honest. But enough rambling, I guess. Let's talk a little bit about what any of this actually means and why I think it's probably a healthy thing. Yeah, I don't think that we should distance ourselves from the things that symbolized our childhood, except for the messed up parts, I guess. But what I want to talk about is that while maturing and becoming an adult, of course, is a gradual thing, it doesn't just magically happen when you hit 18 or 21. Not even when you get your own apartment or get a driver's license, I think. I cannot really speak about that one from experience yet, but I'm pretty sure. It might happen when you have a child, but I think it's more of a collection of things that may spread throughout multiple years and might seem insignificant at first, but internally you feel like there is a turning point. And I think it's important to think about it like that. I think we should look for signs of maturity in ourselves and be proud of them, but also allow ourselves to be sad because, just means that we're not kids anymore. I used to run around here without a single care or a worry in my head, and now I'm standing here with a head quite full of worries, and that's only the beginning. I'm pretty sure that it will get far, far more stressful than it already is. I wish that I could go back to being a 6-year-old, but I can't. It will never ever be as simple as it used to be. Never. And it's kind of good to remind yourself of that, and it's only really possible in moments like these because it just puts you in a certain headspace that's kind of impossible to recreate. And yeah, it sounds depressing what I'm talking about here, and it is. But it is the reality, and thankfully we have the option to affect what's going to come next, which is one of the perks of being an adult, I suppose. Kids just kind of have to go along with whatever they are told. But now as an adult, most of what's going to happen in your life will be a direct consequence of your own actions, which is actually maybe one of the scariest things about all of this. Of course, sometimes life just kind of throws things at us and we cannot really do much about it. Usually those aren't the happiest things that will ever happen to you. But for the most part, it's on us to make a future for ourselves. And like, are you prepared for that? Do any of you feel ready? I'm happy for you if your answer is yes, but for the most part, I think you cannot really be prepared. It's just kind of scary, I suppose. But let's be optimistic here, because we did learn something as kids, and we can use moments like these to kind of think back to those times. Because I actually think we all have, little life lessons sort of hidden throughout our memories, waiting for us to discover them. And, it is really as exciting as it is scary, the whole thing that I talked about us being sort of responsible for everything that happens for the most part. Because, yeah, I don't feel ready, but I guess I never will. And maybe using this emotion that I feel right now, this sense of new beginning, sense of maturity, this realization that I'm going through right now, using all of that to go into this confusing and slightly unappealing world that's out there, and maybe try to find a little piece of it and fill it with the things I love. Maybe that's the point of all of this. And I suppose we have to try to do that, otherwise, what's the point? And even if we won't get there ever, at least we're aiming for something. And that shouldn't be money, by the way. It has to stand for something, it has to mean something. Money can maybe serve as like a little walking stick to help get you where you need to be, but it certainly isn't the destination itself, and it's not even the map or a guide to get there. I think personally I have some idea of what that might be for myself, but who knows really. I guess we just have to fight for something that is real for us.